Hi guys, welcome to Litgyan. This is the seventh part of MCQs on 20th century. The first question is, which of the following is a novel about the sinking of Titanic in 1912? Your options are A. Iris Murdoch's The Sea, B. Beryl Bainbridge's Every Man for Himself, Helen Dunmore's Zennar in Darkness, or Penelope Fitzgerald's Offshore. The answer is B. Beryl Bainbridge's Every Man for Himself. First published in 1996, it was a nominee for the Booker Prize. The novel is narrated by 22-year-old Morgan, a rich young American orphan who is brought up by his aunt and cousin. The book is divided into 4 sections, each one corresponding to a day Morgan spends on the RMS Titanic. He provides a lively account of the middle class to upper class passengers found on the luxury liner while finding time to fall in love with spoilt young socialite Wallace Ellery. The narrator finally makes his way to a collapsible lifeboat after the sinking of the Titanic and is rescued by the crew of Carpathia. Moving on, which of the following is a dystopian novel by Doris Lessing? Mara and Den, An Adventure, Memoirs of a Survivor, The Good Terrorist, and The Golden Notebook. You have to choose the correct option. The answer is A, 1 and 2, that is Mara and Den, and Memoirs of a Survivor. Which of the following novels looks at the life of Dr. Samuel Johnson and his companion Mrs. Thrale through the eyes of a servant girl? A. Beryl Bainbridge's According to Queenie, Margaret Drabble's The Radiant Way, Jeanette Winterson's Art Objects, Helen Dunmore's Zennar in Darkness. The answer is A. Beryl Bainbridge's According to Queenie. Letters to Alice on First Reading Jane Austen is an enthusiastic defense of the novel and its traditions in the television age in the form of letters to a student who is beginning to study English literature. It is written by A. Doris Lessing, B. Fay Weldon, C. Susan Hill, or D. Iris Murdoch. The answer is B. Fay Weldon. I speak as one studied by literature departments and in women's studies courses. Weldon goes on to affirm the vitality of reading and writing throughout history, whether it is studied or not. Fiction, she asserts, on the whole, if it is good, tends to be a subversive element in society, and this is just as true of the fiction of Jane Austen as it is of Fay Weldon herself or of the addressee of the letters, Alice, who by the end of the book is not only a reader but a writer too. You should also remember the letter is being addressed to Alice, and who becomes a writer by the end of this book. Moving on, who wrote the crime novel A Dark Adopted Eye under the pseudonym Barbara Vine? A. Agatha Christie, B. P.D. James, C. Ruth Rendell, or D. Dorothy L. Sayers. All these are crime fiction writers. The answer is C. Ruth Rendell. Which novel of Jeanette Winterson treats female homosexuality and religious oppression? A. Written on the Body, B. Art and Lies, C. Art Objects, or D. Oranges Are Not the Only Fruits. The answer is D. Oranges Are Not the Only Fruits. Whose writing has been unfairly classed as the Hampstead novel, even though her novels have ranged from York-shire to Cambodia, from southern Italy to Stratford? A. Edna O'Brien, B. Margaret Drabble, C. Iris Murdoch, and D. Doris Lessing. The answer is B. Margaret Drabble. Which of the following novels of Bradbury consists of dual narratives, one set in the time of Age of Reason at the court of Catherine the Great and featuring the philosopher Denis Diderot, the other a modern academic narrative centering on a conference in Sweden in 1990s? A. Dangerous Pilgrimage, B. Stepping Westward, C. Rates of Exchange, or D. To the Hermitage? The answer is D. To the Hermitage. It is a campus novel published in the year 2000. Moving on, which of William Trevor's novel moves the story backwards and forwards in time to show the period of the Troubles and its consequences more than half a century later? A. Death in Summer, B. The News from Ireland, C. Fools of Fortune, or D. Felicia's Journey? The answer is C. Fools of Fortune. In 1990, it was also made into a film. The next question is, which of Penelope Fitzgerald's novel is about the German poet novelist and also her final novel that registered her name among the 50 best novelists of the second half of the 20th century by the Times in 2008? A. Offshore, B. The Blue Flower, C. The Beginning of Spring, or D. The Gate of Angels? The answer is B. The Blue Flower. Fitzgerald's final novel, The Blue Flower, 1995, centers on the 18th century German poet and philosopher Novalis and his love for what is portrayed as an ordinary child. Other historical figures such as the poet Goethe and the philosopher Karl Wilhelm Friedrich von Schlegel feature in the story. Fitzgerald came upon the notion of blue flowers having literary significance in The Fox, a short story by D.H. Lawrence. Moving on, Bobel Tower is a novel about words and ideas and contains within it a novel called Bobel Tower, which is prosecuted for obscenity in an echo of the Lady Chatterley's lover trial. Who is its author? A. Calin Dexter, B. A.S. Byatt, C. Muriel Spark, or D. Iris Murdoch? The answer is B. A.S. Byatt. It is a part of A.S. Byatt's quartet that consists of The Virgin in the Garden, Still Life, Bobel Tower, and A Whistling Woman. Her quartet of novels is inspired by D.H. Lawrence, particularly The Rainbow and Women in Love. Match the novelist with the fictional character they have created. You have to choose the correct option. You can take your time. The answer is second option. Colin Dexter created Inspector Morse. Ian Rankin created Jack Rebus. We had also discussed this in the MCQ series on 21st century. Christopher Brooktryne created Jack Parlabane and A.S. Byatt created Robert Merivale. The next question is, in which of Christopher Brooktryne's novel, Jack Parlabane ends up in prison and meets again some of the characters he had earlier helped to convict? A. Boiling a Frog, B. Quite Ugly One Morning, C. Country of the Blind, or D. Not the End of the World? The answer is A. Boiling a Frog. Country Girls trilogy is written by A. Doris Lessing, B. Muriel Spark, C. Margaret Drabble, or D. Edna O'Brien? The answer is D. Edna O'Brien. O'Brien's Country Girls trilogy combines modern female sensuality with the difficulty of escaping from Irish Catholic tradition. It consists of 3 novels, The Country Girls, The Lonely Girl, and The Girls in Their Married Bliss. All 3 were banned by the Irish Censorship Board and faced significant public disdain in Ireland. You should remember this point as well, because many a times questions have come on which novels were banned. So the next question is, The Power book is based on the conventions of email, but is a story with many traditional elements, tales of witches and knights, mixed with 21st century settings and gender concerns. It is written by A. Suzanne Hill, B. Edna O'Brien, C. Jeanette Winterson, or D. Margaret Drabble? The answer is C. Jeanette Winterson. This is a highly innovative novel using tradition and canonical writers like Mallory, Spencer Dunn, as well as a new medium for the narration. It confirms Winterson as one of the most original of modern novelists. Moving on, who is the biographer of Margaret Drabble? A. Angus Wilson, B. Beryl, Bainbridge, C. Anthony Burgess, or D. Grace Nichols? The answer is A. Angus Wilson. Doris Lessing's 5-volume Children of Violence series begins with A. A Proper Marriage, B. A Ripple from the Storm, C. Landlocked, or D. Martha Quest? The answer is D. Martha Quest. The Children of Violence is a series of 5 semi-autobiographical novels by British Nobel Prize winner Doris Lessing. It consists of Martha Quest, A Proper Marriage, A Ripple from the Storm, Landlocked, and The Four-Gated City. The series follows the life of protagonist Martha Quest from adolescence until her death. The first 4 novels are set during the 1930s and 40s in the fictional country of Zambezia, and the 5th work, The Four-Gated City, is a science fiction dystopia set in London from the 1950s into a future where World War III takes place. Moving on, which of Margaret Drabble's novels fictionalizes her own mother's struggle in a York-shire mining community? A Summer Birdcaged, B. The Peppered Moth, C. The Witch of Exmoor, or D. The Ice Age? The answer is B. The Peppered Moth. Aliens Don't Eat Bacon Sandwiches, a 2000 volume of stories written for children, is by A. Doris Lessing, B. William Golding, C. David Lodge, or D. Helen Dunmore? The answer is D. Helen Dunmore. Let's see something about this. Tony notices that his brother Carl has stopped eating, listening to music, seeing his friends, in fact, stopped doing anything that he used to enjoy. Has Carl been taken over by an alien? Tony knows that the best way to find out the truth is to tempt Carl with his favorite food because aliens don't eat bacon sandwiches. The themes and settings in this wonderful collection of 11 stories vary from the ghostly experience of the airman's sixpence, the drama of A Gap in the Dark, the future shock of the Mars Ark, and the fantastical aliens don't eat bacon sandwiches. Moving on to the final question of this video, in which of Iris Murdoch's novels Simon and Axel, a gay couple, are the main survivors? A. Under the Net, B. A Fairly Honorable Defeat, C. The Bell, or D. The Nice and the Good? The answer is B. A Fairly Honorable Defeat. That is it for today. You can leave your doubts in the comment section below. Till then, happy learning!